All right. We are back. We are live. I was just live about 10 minutes ago, and you guys showed up and showed out, and I appreciate you for it. But now I'm in a hotel room. Forgot my microphone, so you guys will have to bear with me there. But the camera's a little bit better than whatever the hell Apple gives you with this laptop. That said, Rams win 42-26. That didn't change just because I'm streaming from a different platform. That's still there. You can see my buddy Chris in the background. He is very happy. We just both went to the game. Definitely going to get a quick bite to eat after this thing. So it's not going to be super long. We went 30 minutes, afterwards. I figured 30 minutes this time. But man, huge win for the Rams. What can you say? I mean, really, what I will say is that so much has been kind of put in, like the stock has been put in other teams. The Patriots, Drake May. I was kind of trying to explain it, but I was walking through people, so I didn't get my point across. Drake May and the New England Patriots were essentially the New England Patriots. That was my pick to be the sleeper team of the year. Last year was the Commanders. You can look it up on Twitter. I'm not the Oracle, but you can look it up on Twitter. It was all over the Patriots. Here's my issue. No matter what, to this point, it seemed like the Rams got ignored. Like, oh, yeah, they're good, they're fun, but like they're not, like what Drake May is doing is better than what Matthew Stafford is doing. And, oh, did you see what Patrick Mahomes did? And, oh, did you see what Josh Allen did? It was like always something. But finally, a dominant 16-point performance against the San Francisco 49ers, who we all know the media themselves, the mainstream, is hoping that they end up being good. They're always talked about. Doesn't matter about the injuries. I don't care about the injuries, okay? The Rams had to go play football against a team that they are what they are. They're always hurt. That's who they are. The Rams aren't always hurt. So that's the difference. But no, Matthew Stafford, 4 touchdowns today, just absolutely stellar. Like I was saying earlier, he has 19 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in the last 6 games. If he's not your MVP favorite, I don't know why, and I don't know who else you would put ahead of him. It's just gotten to the point where it's insane. But now we get a chance to finally, I got the box score in front of me. We can actually talk shop, and I don't have to just rattle stuff off my head. Although I think I do a decent job at that. Matthew Stafford was great, okay? Pressure was still there. I didn't think that they had their moments where they really protected him, but you saw the tackles. I thought they got worked. I thought Alex Jackson got worked. I really thought Rob Havenstein got worked. I think that's something where, we'll have to get back to the drawing board and really consider if this team, like what we're talked about, we always hear, if it's really always evaluating, and we saw that with the special teams unit, well, it's got to be evaluating the tackles, because the reality is, Warren McClendon Jr. was playing better football than Rob Havenstein has since he's been back from the bye. I'm just saying, if we're going to go after the special teams unit and wins, and the idea is, well, we just because they won doesn't mean this can't be a problem down the road. Well, right tackle, and I love Rob Havenstein. Before Jake McQuaid came back, he was the last remaining St. Louis Ram, so a special place in my heart because I watched him play in 2015 as a rookie. That said, he was not good today, okay? And I know he struggles against, ultra-athletic pass rushers, and Bryce Huff is very good. But, that needs to be figured out, okay? That needs to be figured out. But, anyway, Stafford looked great. Pressure, no pressure, looked great. I thought just a lot of the things that McVay did, a lot of creativity on the opening drive, a lot of creativity in the game script. I mean, you talk about getting everybody involved. Like, you have an Xavier Smith, Konate Mumfield's out there. Didn't see a lot of Jordan Whittington. I think that had a lot to do with the back. How he was essentially questionable for this game and did end up playing. Parkinson had 4 catches for 41. Puka Nacua had 5 catches for 64. Devontae Adams had 6 catches for 77. All had touchdowns. And then Davis Allen had a touchdown, 2 catches, 8 yards. Kyron had 2 catches, 11 yards. Xavier Smith had a catch for 14. They really seemed to want to get Terrence Ferguson involved like I predicted. He had 4 targets, only came down with 1 of them. And I could be wrong, I do feel like he got both feet in bounds on the first one, but they didn't review it. Ferguson looks good, man. I saw him, he was warming up with the wide receivers. They are very high on him. I can see it right now. I wasn't sure if they were. I wasn't sure if this was going to be one of those picks where it's like, man, he could be so good, but they just don't have a role for him. Sorry, but if you've been paying attention, the Rams have literally done this twice with athletic tight ends. Jacob Harris for one, fourth rounder, and Bryson Hopkins, fourth rounder. This was a second rounder that they said they would draft 26th overall if they had to. And I think we're starting to see they really like Ferg. So that is interesting there. Tyler Higbee had 3 catches for 33. He looked good. It's a moving effort. This is going to make waves around the NFL. This win is going to be a sonic boom around the NFL. Teams are going to watch this tape and pick up. The Rams might be onto something. This is a league that is constantly growing and constantly reconfiguring, and it's a copycat league. The Rams just so they might be on the precipice of finding the next big thing in the NFL that was hiding in plain sight. Okay? And as crazy as that sounds, I'm not kidding. Not only, I mean, this is crazy. So I saw this earlier. I actually tweeted out. So I quote tweeted it. Josh iOS tweets at Josh iOS tweets on Twitter. Big shout out to Josh. Had this awesome offensive personnel chart in week 9. Okay. I want to read this off to you and give you an idea of what we're talking about. So last week, the Rams were 3rd in EPA offensively. The Bears were number 1. The Seattle Seahawks were number 2. This is the kicker. Okay. Seattle ran 22 personnel 10% of the time. I would kill for the Rams to have 2 back sets. They don't do it. They also had 6+ offensive linemen on the line, 2% of the time. Okay. Seattle also had 16% in 21 personnel. Okay. Seattle had 2% 13, 32% 12, and 38% 11 personnel. The Rams led the entire NFL last week with 49% personnel. The Bills had 5%. The Seahawks had 2. The Ravens had 2. The Raiders had 8. Carolina had 16. The Steelers had 20. The Saints had 9. The Broncos had 6. You get my point. Here's the thing, though. This is why they might be onto something. They might be onto something so big that we see a huge shift in how teams look at tight ends moving forward. Because here's the deal. The Rams don't have George Kittle. They don't have Trey McBride. They don't have Travis Kelce, right? They don't have an elite tight end. I mean, we'll see what ends up happening with Terrence Ferguson. But right now, they don't have an elite tight end, okay? So, what are they doing? Well, they have athletic tight ends. I said this in the live stream earlier, so I'm sorry if you've already heard this, but I want to make this point. The Rams ran 13 personnel. I don't have the number in front of me, but they definitely ran more than 49% of the time today. This is a sign they figured something out. The 49ers had the tape on it. This is what gets me so amped that this isn't going away and that no one's going to be able to stop it. Because it's a matter of who you have in the room. It's about personnel grouping, okay? They ran it 49% of the time. And the 49ers saw all that film and either chose to do nothing about it or they just simply can't stop it with their personnel. And why would that be? Because you have Davis Allen. Davis Allen, for those of you who don't remember, was a huge draft crush of mine coming out of Clemson, okay? He could block, but he was really good contested catch guy, and he was athletic. Didn't run a fast 40 time, so people just assume he can't play. Well, guess what? His 4.8 40 time, he runs much faster, like in-game. So then you have Davis Allen, you have Colby Parkinson, really, really athletic. People don't give him enough credit. He's not a huge name, but he's very athletic. Then you have Terrence Ferguson, who's the most athletic tight end in that room, and you have Tyler Higbee. So all 4 of those guys, none of them are better than any of the guys I mentioned, Kittle, McBride, Kelce, right? Bowers, none of them. Just imagine what the Rams would have done if they had Brock Bowers. Anyway, that's not the point. Point being, none of them are better. But together, all 4 of them be able to rotate in this 3 tight end set, it's making teams just absolutely have fits. It's too hard to defend. And why is it too hard to defend? Because all of them block and all of them catch. And all of them can make plays after the catch. All of them. We're seeing it. It's a fun time. But I'm telling you, the Rams are the first on this. They're not the first to ever use 13 personnel. They're the first to adopt it as one of their primary methods of running their offense. And why does this work so well on top of the fact they have the personnel grouping, they have the athleticism and the blocking prowess? Well, in addition to that, now you can take Puka Nacua and Davante Adams off the field. They don't have to play those downs. And people will say, well, why do I want to take out the best receivers in the league? That's fair. Well, guess what? You're only going to have one receiver and you're going to have one running back. Also, look at when they run in that set. You can take, and this is the great thing, you can take tight ends and use them as fullbacks. That's the thing, right? You can take tight ends and use them as fullbacks. The downside is, while they're athletic for what they are, and they're big, and they can be mismatches, there's always a way to beat every single type of offense, just like there's a way to beat every type of defense. The way to beat the offense is very simple, okay? You can beat the offense because they're not as athletic as wide receivers. So if you use it too much, teams can clamp you down, right? That's the thing. So, yeah. I'm really impressed. Hat tip to Sean McVay. Took an unfortunate circumstance with Puka Nacua injured and used it to make himself better as a play caller, as a play designer, and help the Rams. That's what happened, folks. If you guys weren't paying attention, when Puka Nacua went down, they were like, you know what? We're going to take this, and we're going to get better because of it. We're going to start using 13 personnel. We're going to start using everybody. That's what's happening. And they're so much better because of it. There were a few instances this year that turned the Rams from, yeah, this is a good team. Like, this is a really good team. They can win the Super Bowl, to, whoa. And the first instance I would say is when the Rams, they already kind of set the scene because they kind of told us before the season, hey, we want to be 12 personnel heavy. So, okay. You have Blake Corum lose weight, so he's the speed slasher back, and you have Kyron gain weight, so he can do kind of everything, right? That's the first step. Second is losing on Thursday to the 49ers in week 5. That pissed them off. That rattled the cage. The Eagles game, it was like, all right, that sucks, but we have a lot we can build off of, and it's early on in the season. The 49ers one was in your house. You made it. You came back and made it an overtime game. You still had an opportunity at the end, and you blew it. So I feel like that 49ers loss, they've really propelled, and then Puka Nacua going down unlocked the offense. And I don't mean that in any negative slight against him. It forced the Rams to, instead of this team being so predominantly Puka Nacua driven, now they're so effective because you don't know who's going to get the ball. All of them can score. All of them. Davis Allen scored today. Parkinson scored today. They had a great play design where everyone and their mother knew they were going to throw a back shoulder fade to Davante Adams, but instead of just doing the obvious where Stafford just drops, quick 3-step drop and throws it up, instead of that, they had Puka Nacua line up next to him. So now you don't know where you're going to go with that, right? So that was a big thing. I just absolutely love some of the drives they had, some of the different things they threw in, the slip screen to Xavier Smith. Just a lot of respect for Sean McVay. You could tell this game, they really cared about winning this football game. They really cared. And they are legit, guys. I've been saying it. I've had them number one in my power rankings. People call me a homer. This is what I always say to that. Sue me for the fact that I get to cover a team that hired the head coach that I wanted all along. And basically, he's the best thing that we've seen since John Madden. And now they're so good that I'm considered a homer when I tell everybody that they're so good. Like, think about it. When have the Rams not been good? Think about this. 2017, his first year, they go to the playoffs. They walk into the reigning NFC champion Atlanta Falcons. Veteran leadership and just having that experience, guys that were just in the Super Bowl, ends up being their downfall. They lose at home. Sean McVay learns a valuable lesson. The next year they come back, instead of 11-5, they're 13-3. They go to the Super Bowl and they lose to Bill Belichick because they put on tape against Vic Fangio's, Chicago Bears at the time that, hey, by the way, Jared Goff, you could just run quarters and he's not going to be able to do anything against it. So everybody knew at that point that's how you beat the Rams offense. So Sean McVay once again had to learn from his mistakes. He had to learn from a loss. And in 2019, the Rams tried after paying Jared Goff. They had injuries. They missed the playoffs by one game. Everybody said that they had no chance because, it's going to be a Super Bowl hangover. And they came close. And honestly, they should have made the playoffs. And they would have in the 7-team format. Followed by the next season, 2020, their quarterback gets hurt, Jared Goff. He also struggles and really kind of falls off a cliff. But the defense is number one in the league. They end up beating Seattle in the playoffs. After John Wolford's going to start the game, he gets injured. Dirty hit by Jadeveon Clowney, helmet to helmet, knocks him out of the game. Jared Goff with 9 fingers finds a way to win the game. Then they go to Lambeau. They have not been able to beat the Packers. They don't do it there. Jared Goff it's a valiant effort, but Sean McVay knows in his heart he doesn't have the right quarterback to get to the mountaintop. He doesn't have the right quarterback to win it all. And so what happens? He goes out, he pleads, and he gets what he wants. Matthew Stafford, come on down to LA. Wish you guys did in 2015 like I asked, but hey, I'll take it. Stafford immediately gets sent to the Rams. If you guys are OG followers of the channel, I'm here live talking to Blaine Grisack saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. It's going to happen. I had no doubt once they got Matthew Stafford, he was the final missing piece. Sure enough, he was. Then 2022 happens. They have a team that can win it, but they have 17 different offensive line combinations. Everybody and their mother gets hurt on that team except for Jalen Ramsey, Leonard Floyd, and Bobby Wagner. Why do I know that? Because all 3 of them were let go the following year. That said, 2022, they had a lot of games that they could have won even with all those injuries. People forget Bryce Perkins went toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes in, Kansas City and Arrowhead. Okay, so all of that. So the times that the Rams have been bad have mainly been when they're banged up. In 2019, they would have made the playoffs under today's format. And in 2022, they had 17 different offensive line combinations. And Matthew Stafford went down in Week 9. Cooper Kupp, who was last year's Triple Crown winner, Super Bowl MVP, then had the greatest receiving season of all time, arguably, he went down. So both guys went down and kind of changed everything for them. And in 2023, the Rams are there. They're there already. Like Donald's in his last year, and they're there. And unfortunately, they lose to a hungry Lions team. Then 2024 hits, and they absolutely could have won the Super Bowl. But the reality is that they were still young. They were so far ahead of schedule. They should have probably won the Super Bowl, but they were still young, and they came so close. And now this year, they're young, but even their young guys are experienced. So what I'm getting at here is that as long as Sean McVay has been in charge, Rams have never been a bad team, okay? Throughout my whole, childhood, going to school and everything, I was mocked for being a Rams fan because they were so bad for so long. And when they weren't bad, they were just okay. They were that team that you and I would be like, they should have won. That was every single Sunday. And then I had to go to school the next day and hear about it from a bunch of people that didn't even watch the game. So what I'm getting at here is that you'll always be called a homer or whatever, and I get that. But it's kind of hard to not express how good this team is because Sean McVay, this is what Sean McVay has created, okay? Matthew Stafford threw his 400th touchdown pass today. Only 9 quarterbacks have done it. He's insane. He was the right move. Anybody who thinks the Lions won that trade is out of their freaking mind because the Rams have a Super Bowl and they should win another. And man, I would love to see them win a Super Bowl on that field, okay? Would love it. I think it would be the greatest thing ever. 49ers fans would never be able to say a damn thing ever again. Because if you're telling me that the Rams beat them in the NFC title game to go to the Super Bowl, to then win the Super Bowl, something that the 49ers have not been able to do since I've been born, and then the Rams win their second Super Bowl with the same quarterback, with the same head coach, with, some different pieces, sure, but they win that same Super Bowl on the 49ers turf. Oh my God. They would never be able to win any argument ever again. It'd be over. You wouldn't be able to talk. Just done, right? There's no coming back from that. Anyway, long story short, just kidding. Short story long. Offense looked really good. Really good. 42 points. You got to feel really good. The Rams also 4-1 on the road. That's something that matters, folks. It does. By the way, if you haven't been paying attention, the Ravens look good. That was a good win. I know a lot of people were saying, oh, we barely beat the Ravens. I said, look, that defense that you saw against the Texans, that was a one-off. That safety, they cut him the next day. They got Kyle Hamilton back. They got Marlon Humphrey back. They added Alohi Gilman via trade. The Ravens are legit. And that's what I knew. I was like, no, this Ravens team's legit. That was a really good win by the Rams. Tough one on the road to go cross-country and win that one. Then the London game, then the Saints game, is whatever. But this game takes the cake. You just scored 42 points in San Francisco. Well, technically Santa Clara. You just scored 42 points against the Niners. 42. If you're not excited about this team, I don't know what you're doing. Okay? It's time. I want to see more people hyped about the Rams. I want to see more people talking about the Rams. It's time. The title, the prompt, if you will, of this was, can we finally admit the Rams are the NFL's best now? Yeah. Can we? Can we finally admit that? Because it's not even up for debate. The Rams are the NFL's best team right now. They get to, obviously, they have to prove it this upcoming weekend against Seattle, but they are currently the best in the league. But the defense didn't have their best game, but I want to give some shout outs here. Okay. First things first, Emmanuel Forbes, back-to-back interceptions. Are they coming in bunches here? I mean, I thought he had a good game. There were some, misses there, whatever, but I thought he had a pretty good game. Nate Landman is inevitable. He just is. He is so fun to watch. How about 11 tackles for Landman, Lake, and Spates? Those guys were everywhere. Lake had 8 solo tackles, So really liked what I saw from those guys. I will say the defense did give up a lot in this one, okay? The 49ers, man, I don't know, the way they play Mac Jones, it's I feel like they're okay giving up. They play more bend, don't break. That pass rush was disappointing today. They didn't really get there, and then they didn't really blitz that much, and when they did, it was kind of too late. But I'm not going to throw too much shade because at the end of the day, the Rams defense held the 49ers to really, when you think about it, 20 points. It was garbage time. So 20 points, really it was 42-20. 49ers got a garbage time touchdown. They had no chance of winning this game. It really never felt like they were going to win this game. The Rams were clearly the better team from the get-go. Yeah. I'm not even upset about the Week 5 loss because the way I see it, it's part of the story. We can sit here and complain and say they should be 9-0, and you'd probably be right. The Eagles' loss is still upsetting to me, but the 49ers loss I'm over with because we just saw this, and this is what they are. And you could say, oh, well, they didn't have whoever, whatever you want to say. They didn't have Fred Warner. I have 2 points on this. Fred Warner isn't going to make up 16 points in this game. He's not. And lastly, the 49ers are never healthy. They don't get the benefit of the doubt. You are what you are most of the time. The 49ers most of the time are a banged up football team. Blame it on their training staff. But unfortunately, that's the reality. I am not going to crap on this Rams win because they played against some backups. I don't care. This is who the Niners are rolling out halfway through the year. That's a Niners problem. Yeah, they've had a lot of injuries. That sucks. But at some point or another, you have to look inward. There's something up with the training staff. Guys don't get hurt this much. We've seen it, but it's one thing if you're like the 2022 Rams, guys got hurt like crazy. But is that happening every year? No. The 49ers, it's happening every year. So at some point or another, Let's just stop it. Seriously, it's getting old. Anyway, defense. Didn't love the performance today because I would like to see, more pressure on Mac Jones. I don't really want Mac Jones going 33 of 39 for 319 yards and 3 touchdowns. But they did a nice job on the ground. They held him to 3.5 yards a carry, 21 carries. Clearly, Brian Robinson Jr. is a better running back than Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is a receiver at this point in his career. George Kittle looked like he looked like he's supposed to look. Right? Jawan Jennings, he plays well against the Rams. He looked good. But yeah, this was pure domination. The Rams, they had 7 more first downs. They were 5-9 in third down efficiency. The 49ers were 3 for 8. The Rams were 100% on fourth down. By the way, shout out to McVay for finally going for a fourth down, consistently. It's awesome. The Rams were just really good today. Guys, they were 5 of 6 in the red zone. It's gotten to that point. 126 on the ground. Stafford was throwing it all over the yard once again. It's just gotten to that point where if you are just going to ignore how good the Rams are, then that's just, you have some narrative at that point. It's really, I don't know. I'm just, and I understand, I see in the comments section, New England Patriots are 8-2. I know they are. They're 5-0 on the road. They're legit. Drake May isn't better than Matthew Stafford. He's not. I don't care what anyone says. Drake May is not better than Matthew Stafford. I like Drake May a lot. Please don't make me dislike him. 16 of 31, 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. I'm just saying. Again, I like Drake May. He's just not better than Stafford. The Patriots are not better than the Rams. And this is what I'll say about that, okay? If you look right now in the standings, the Rams currently, by the way, they're the 5th seed because Seattle just took the 1 seed after winning. But that's on a technicality, technically. But the Rams' strength of victory is now 455. That is higher than anybody in the NFC that's not named the Falcons, but who really cares? The Vikings, the Eagles, and that's it. So strength of victory is pretty high. The strength of schedule is at 500. If we're going to say the Patriots are better, and trust me, guys, I like the Patriots a lot. I like what they're doing. I like Drake May. I'm a big Vrabel fan, and I picked them to be, pick them to be the sleeper this year. I had them winning 11 games before the season started. They've already won 8 of them. But let's be honest. The Patriots have a 380 strength of schedule. That's about as low as I've ever seen a strength of schedule go. There's nobody with even earshot of that except for the Bears, actually lower, believe it or not. So really, that's kind of my thing. That's why I have a lot of respect for the Patriots, but come on. So anyway, that's what I'll say there. Looking at the schedule, though, Seattle, 7-2. Game's going to be crazy. I'll tell you this right now. I think Seattle is the second best team. I don't think they're better than the Rams. Big reason why. Strength of schedule, the Rams have a 500 strength of schedule. Seattle has a 446. Strength of victory, the Rams have a 455. Seattle has a 391. What Seattle's doing right now is looking like the Lions when they were beating up on bad teams. But Seattle lost to the Buccaneers at 38-35, and they lost to the 49ers 17-13. Are they a different team than the time they played the 49ers? Yes. Are they a different team than the time they played the Bucs? Also yes. But their last 3 games, they beat the Texans 27-19, they beat the Commanders 38-14, and they beat the Cardinals 44-22. So the Rams are the best team they're playing all year. Best team they'll play all year. and it's in SoFi. So, yeah, we'll find out. Let's get to Super Chats, but before we do, shout out, sponsor, Sleeper. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to check it out. Link is in the description below. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring today's video, as always. Use code JKB. You'll get a $100% match up to $100 on your first deposit. Use the $20 entry. It's free. So again, download the Sleeper app today. Give it a try. It's got all sorts of stuff, including like regular fantasy football, dynasty fantasy football. Love the app. So definitely check that out. And for anybody that's coming in new, wondering who that guy is in the background, it's Chris Zeffro. He's a good friend of mine. We just saw the game together. He was in the live stream. We were walking around. That's my buddy over there. And he's got like the coolest business ever. If you're into horror and like horror movies and you see all the masks in my backdrop that isn't currently here. That backdrop, those masks are from Trick or Treat Studios, which is where he is. So be sure to check that out as well. trickortreatstudios.com. Give my boy Chris some love. Yeah. How do you feel, Chris?
I'm good, man.
I'm not embarrassing you over there by throwing you in, am I?
No, I'm very happy.
All right, cool.
We needed that win bad.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, so gonna wrap up the show. Just gonna read super chats and head on out of here. We're gonna get some dinner and then I'll get ready for my long trip tomorrow back to New York. So Chase, thank you for the 10. Statement game, Rams needed to quiet the 49ers. Agree completely. The Seahawks look good but not great. With the win next week, no one can doubt we're number one. That's true. I still don't think anybody should doubt right now on November 9th that the Rams aren't the best team in the league and that Stafford isn't the MVP. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. SoCal, thank you for the 5. I know we won, but what happened to D-line? No sacks, no pressure. Mac Jones was dancing back there. Yeah, that was frustrating. I'm just going to chalk it up to the matchup. I'm not worried. I don't think all of a sudden the defense can't get pressure. I think people forget how good the 49ers offensive line is and can be. And I think people really forget how good Trent Williams is. And I also think people forget how it's always it's Rams week. Like I saw an interview George Kittle did where he's like, there's just a different feeling in the air. And the way he explained it was when he came in the league, the Rams were always beating up on the 49ers. So they kind of always wanted to beat the top dog. And the Rams were the top dog at the time. And, it was cool the way he was kind of explaining it because they do get up for Seattle and they get up for the Cardinals, but there's clearly an extra emphasis to get up and get ready and give it your best game against the Rams. So, yeah, I mean, you're always going to get the 49ers' best shot. Today, this was their best shot. I mean, the Rams are just so much better than they were in Week 5, and the 49ers are more banged up than they were in Week 5. So that's where we're at. But SoCal, appreciate you. Go Rams. Hope Tay is okay. 100% likewise. Steven, thank you. LFO, appreciate you. Member, 12 months. Bella, thank you for the 5. I am not shocked we played so well against San Fran, but I am pleasantly surprised. Can we roll on the Seahawks next? Well, unfortunately, I think that game's going to be a lot closer. So we're probably going to have to sweat that one out. So here's hoping, but I'm expecting it to be very close because those are the two best teams in the league, in my opinion. Zaylor Swift, thank you for the 2. Stafford was cooking them. Yes, he was. Mac Jones, I think, was playing very similar to what he did in the game against the Rams at SoFi. I don't really know, but they wanted to run kind of that defense the way they did. It was obviously a little bit more aggressive than it was at SoFi. SoFi, they were playing so off, man. It was super, super conservative. But yeah, he's a good quarterback. Guys, we got to give Mac Jones some credit here. I mean, he's definitely better than Brock Purdy. It's like I said, Brock Purdy played, they would have had 3 picks on Purdy. And I know Mac threw 2 and 1 doesn't really, I guess, count. It's weird about 2-point conversion attempts because you could just throw a pick and just have it not go into your, you know, your stat sheet. It's bizarre. Matthew, thank you for the 5. Hell with them. You, Homer, Hobie, I'm a proud Homer. People don't realize when you don't think the Rams deserve the praise, you don't give it. Yeah, it's true. You know, it's funny that you say that because I think that there are still people out there that think that I'm too negative about the Rams. And I know there's some that actually work with the Rams that think I'm too negative because it just so happens when I have something negative to say, it's like I really pile on, but I'm just really passionate. And it's like, look, I love Rob Havenstein, but I'm going to tell you right now, I would not be starting him at right tackle over Warren McClendon Jr. He has not looked good in the last 2 games. He has looked nowhere near as good as Warren McClendon Jr. did. And that is just a lot of praise to what Warren McClendon Jr. has, come from. A 5th-round pick, a guy that I really liked in the draft and as a prospect. But now he's worked his way as like somebody that should be starting at right tackle. So, I have those moments where it's like, I totally, absolutely, 100% vehemently disagree with the way they use Kyren Williams. I think it's dumb. But that said, if they keep winning, right, they still find ways to win. I mean, I might disagree, but, so yeah. Always going to get my thoughts, though, whether it's positive or negative. Zaylor, we should keep Mevis as kicker, super smooth, consistent. We're going to need points next weekend. I do want to address this. I think he kicked well, obviously 6 extra points, but it was a little easier. These extra points weren't dire. He wasn't kicking in game-winning situations. What I think is easy to do is throw Cardi under the bus, but what I don't think is fair is people forget Cardi's the one that sent them to overtime. He had to make that kick. He sent them to overtime. He gave them an opportunity in week 5. He made huge kicks in the playoffs, including in the cold, the freezing cold, the snow, right? Josh Cardi does not get enough respect. So I'll say this. Mevis looked great today, but he wasn't asked to kick field goals, and he wasn't asked to kick field goals in high leverage, situations. Let's see what happens in those high leverage situations, because obviously kickers, just like NBA basketball players shooting with nobody in their face, kickers are going to drill it when there's nobody in their face. There's no pressure. There's nobody breathing down their neck. Right now, Mevis is like he's kicking extra points in a game that they're dominating in. Right. I want to see him when there's high leverage. When the game's on the line, is he going to come through? Because if he does, then it doesn't matter how good Josh Cardi is. The Rams are just going to move on with Mevis. But if he doesn't, then there you go. People forget kickers. Yes, it's important to make field goals, but high leverage matters. You are no different than a bullpen pitcher in the MLB. You have to come in and you have to pitch in incredibly high leverage, high intensity, incredible stressful situations. And that's the job. If you can't do it, you can't do it. But there's no, he looked good when there was no high leverage. Yeah, he did, but that's the thing. I need to see him in bigger spots personally. That's where I'm at. So I want to give credit, but I also want to be fair to Cardi. I also think long snapper Jake LaQuaid was leaps and bounds better than Alex Ward. Felt the ball came out better. That was just my take. And I think he had a lot to do with today. And I think if Josh Cardi kicked, I think he would have made all 6 extra points. That's my hot take, but Mevis deserves credit. Brian, thank you for the 2. This is our year, brother. Rams are the best team. I agree. Hopefully, they just stay healthy. It's the biggest thing. It's unfortunate, but that's the biggest thing. How many times do you have a team that's clearly the best and, they don't get that good bill of health and it kills them? Hopefully Tay's okay. And yeah, Deuce, thank you for the 10. Rams Petty Tour. Winning on Winers Field would be crazy. Yeah, can you imagine a Petty Rams tour in the playoffs where they play the Eagles, the Lions, and then they win the Super Bowl against the Patriots on the 49ers field? I mean, I don't know if there's anything more petty and more revenge driven than that. That would be amazing. I guess it's possible, but it would just be so cool to see that. Like if they beat all of those teams, they get revenge on all of them. It's like, yeah, that would be something else. What's good? How you doing? Hey Jake, what's going on with McCreary? Well, he's nothing's going on with him. He's playing on special teams. They got him his depth. Kellen will be back soon. I don't know what soon is, but probably within the next 2 weeks they're gonna start that IR process, the IR window. But also, the other guys are playing really well. Emmanuel Forbes is killing it. Darius Williams, aside from giving up that touchdown today, had been one of the best corners in the league the last 4 weeks. And Kobe Durant is playing well. So it's like they're not in a hurry to kind of break that up or anything. So, that's something there. But I don't think anything's going on with him. I also think he's just new to the system, and they're not trying to throw him in there personally. That's just what I think. Brian, thank you for the 5. Wish I could have been there with you for this one. All the way back to Santa Clara. You are the best, Jake. Love the jersey. Whose house? Bang. Yeah, appreciate it, man. Appreciate you, Brian. It was good seeing you the last time. Wish they would have won the last time. And I appreciate you. Love the jersey. This is a Kyron Williams jersey. Shout out to Kyron. So, appreciate that. But yeah, SoCal. Is that J.K. Bogan SNR? Hats off to the dad. SNR? No. That's my friend Chris, not my dad. Nope. But you will see my dad. We're coming out for, it'll be a SoFi game, so guess I'm the jinx, guys. Guess they're not gonna win. Oh boy. Detroit coming to SoFi. We'll be at the game. It'll be fun. Me and Pops. Oh, look at that. Christopher Zephyroception. He's in the background and he's on the screen. Had a great time at the game. Thanks for flying out. And next season, I'll get us out of the sun. I appreciate the 20. Yeah, we got roasted. It's going to be hilarious. Not really. But when I go back to New York, I was telling Chris, I'm going to have a cold when I get back to New York, and I'm going to have a sunburn. I'm going to look like the biggest asshole ever. Like, it's going to... It's ridiculous. Absolutely stupid, but nah, Chris, it was great. I don't worry about that at all.
Make that mistake again.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I didn't know it was going to scorch. By the way, like the weathermen here, I don't know what they're talking about. They're like, oh, it's cloud and all that. It's going to be cloudy. When did it get cloudy? It never got cloudy.
Of sun.
It never got cloudy. So, yeah, I'm calling bullshit on that one. Thank you, Chris. Jason, thank you for the 5. JKB Live and Alexis. LFG, Los Angeles Rams, McVay, Stafford for 2 were unreal. Yeah, no, they are great. I love watching those two. They're just always on the same page, even when they're not. It works out. And Stafford is just completing passes this year by staying in the pocket just a little bit longer. And he's not dirting the football as much. He's just completing those passes. Those screens looked blown up. I want to give a big shout out to Coleman Shelton on that block on the Xavier Smith, bubble screen. I mean, that was huge. That was big time, and that opened that play up. Puka Nacua getting that first down, had one of the 49er fans in attendance right by us. Like, what the hell is this dude? Like, yeah, that's just Puka Nacua. But no, just fighting for every yard to get that first down. That was key. That was critical. You got to love that. But yeah, no, good stuff. Good stuff. Rusty, thank you for the super there. Great win. Will be at the Rams-Seahawks game. Hopefully the Ramley shows up. Yes. That better be a damn Rams home game. That better look like a damn playoff game. There are no excuses, okay? I came out here to San Fran, or Santa Clara, we're going to keep calling it, but I came out here from upstate New York and, came out for the 49ers game. Y'all have to show up, okay? Y'all have to show up, go to that game, take over, okay? That needs to be a home field advantage. There's no reason. The Rams should not have to be on a silent count. There's no way. No way. They should not have to be on a silent count at all. Like, black out the entire SoFi Stadium, make it all black, paint it black, like I'm telling you, there's no excuse. This needs to be this has to be an absolute huge advantage offensively. This is the biggest game of the year. If this ends up being the best regular season game of the year, would not be surprised. Like right now, I think I'm picking the Rams to win like 33-30. Like, I think it's going to be like that type of game. So, yeah, definitely show up. Show up, show out. Go to the game. This is the game you want to go to. Yeah. Andrew, thank you for the 5. Is it possible we got McCreary for JS? What? Oh, like they got him to defend JSN? That's an interesting theory. Or who would you want to see him on? Who would you want to see on him? He frightens me. I don't know. That's fair. The deep play. And you see it. Teams aren't really testing the Rams deep down the field. They're not testing their corners. They're throwing over the middle. They're throwing to the sidelines. They're like, hey, if you can beat them, you can get yards after the catch. That's how they're doing it. But they're not really outplaying the corners. The corners have been great. The coverage has been great this year. The safeties have been great. JSN's a little different. JSN went for over 200 yards last year in Seattle against the Rams. The Rams won in overtime. It was a wild game. And these teams are even better than those two teams were last year. So, yeah, maybe it'll end up being a 54-51 game. Who knows? I don't know if I can handle a game like that. But, yeah, JSN is a special talent. I don't know who's going to be on. Truthfully, I don't know. I could see Darius Williams if they feel like he's back, but I don't know. That's an interesting one. Maybe it is McCreary. We'll see. But, yeah, I kind of like that theory. Forbes is earning. Yes, Jason, thank you for the 5. Forbes has really turned it around. I'm so happy for him. Kind of left out, hung out to dry, all of that. You got to give him his respect, And so I'm a big fan of Forbes. Love the job he's doing. And I'm a big fan of these first-round picks that get chewed up and spit out, and then a new regime comes in, and then they want nothing to do with him. Sean McVay didn't do that. Tyler Higbee, that's the thing I love. Sean McVay's first ever draft pick was a first-round draft pick of Gerald Everett, and second round, and he still preferred Tyler Higbee. He still let Tyler Higbee cook. Because he wants the best players on the field, not just his players. So not everybody's like that. Forbes, unfortunately, got pushed out, but look at what he's doing now. So good on him. John, thank you for the 5. 3 turnovers by the P-Hawks. That's a name. We win next week if they do that. Interesting. The Real A-Dog, thank you for the 5. Great Rams win, Jake. Jake, do you think Landman will punch the ball out again next week against the Seahawks? Well, Landman is inevitable, so he'll definitely get another punch out. We'll see if it's against Seattle or not. But, man, when he punched it out today, I was like, okay. I didn't really have a doubt the way they came out, but when he punched it out, I was like, this game's over. They're just going to steamroll him. So that's what it felt like. I would honestly go as far as to say the score doesn't indicate the domination that we saw, 42-26. I mean, the Rams could have scored 50+ if they really wanted to. They don't run up the score, and that's just the reality of it. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Really wanted to give you guys a live stream on the road, but I wanted to give you a live stream right after. And I thought the live stream after kicked ass. We had over 4,000 views, and we had super chats. So just really fun stuff. Really appreciate you guys. I'll be back in full force, tomorrow. Probably not. Well, tomorrow, not really, but Tuesday is when I'll probably be back in full force. And we'll have Brandon on. We'll have Dan Viens. We'll collab with. So plenty of content. Appreciate you guys following me throughout the week. Appreciate everybody. If anyone's watching that I met today, appreciate you for coming up and saying hi. And I'll see you guys soon. Later, folks.